All right. Well, hey everyone, it's Rebecca Ruth. Thanks for joining us again for another episode. Today I'm joined by Laylah Rose. Hi, Layla. How are you?
Hi, Rebecca. How are you? Thanks
I'm
for
doing.
having me.
Of course, I am doing well, and I'm so grateful to you for coming and chatting with me for a little bit. You look gorgeous, of course.
Thank you. So do you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. So, Layla, as people know, I have a reputation for jumping right into things. So, tell us where you are and what you do in the industry.
So, I'm from Ohio originally, and I go back and forth. I have a lot of clients in Florida, so I'm half in Florida, half in Ohio, and I bounce back and forth from there in New York and LA. But yeah, mostly a lot of my clients are all over the world now. So, yeah.
Awesome. And what is it that you're doing? What is it that you're doing for your clients?
So I started designing dresses for my daughters because they were in between like the Miss division and the youth divisions for the pageant world. And a lot of things were either too mature for them to wear or just too young for them to wear. And I come from five generations of women creating their own designs, being a designer, being a pageant queen. My grandmother, my great grandmother were models. My mom did ballet. And so my grandparents owned a boutique. So I grew up around fashion and designing and creating whatever my aunts and my moms and cousins all wanted. And from that, I saw that there was a need for that area of designs. You don't want to put something, especially in the pageant community, with scholarship and natural pageant competitions. You don't want to put them in something too mature, and you don't want to put them in something too young. So I designed a few pieces for my daughter, and then when she was on stage, somebody said, "Oh my gosh, who made that? Where's it from?" And I said, "Well, I did." And then from there, so long story short, I created a few pieces for a few other pageant queens. And then I got a call from New York Fashion Week and said, "We love your gowns and dresses. Would you like to showcase at New York Fashion Week?" And I was like, "Me? Sure. Okay. Yes, absolutely." So I did have a boutique. It was all online, and that was before COVID hit. And now I do a lot of custom pieces because I love for the girls to help create their vision, especially in the pageant world. They're wearing it. It's their confidence, it's their image, and I help guide them. And that's where I am today. So, with that, I was also asked to style and design for a few queens throughout the United States and the world for Miss Universe and a ton of other systems as well. Yeah.
So that's very awesome, first of all. And secondly, so it sounds like you almost didn't have any choice. Like you were gonna be in this industry one way or another, given your
Yes,
your family's background.
yes, and I have photos of my grandparents and their boutique and the clothes, and just even hearing firsthand, because my grandmother was born in 1915. So I got to hear about the styles from when she was little, and right, directly from her. So it was just so awesome to have that history and the knowledge from 1915, and even from her grandparents and her parents' eras. And I love, and we were talking before, but I love mixing the old with the new and creating something fresh, but you can still see pieces from 100 years ago.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I love all fashion stories, but I love stories with like history. And I think it's really important. I tell people now all the time, like, it's important for you to know like fashion history if you're in this industry because I think the timeless pieces, the longevity, all of those brands that have been around, like, they have an amazing history
Yep.
behind them, and that history is part of why they're still here today. And I'm like, so that's really
Absolutely.
important. Like, it's important to know the history of the brands that you like know and love and everything like that, and for your own, and creating that story even for your
Yeah.
own brand.
And
So
how they got started, and
yeah,
they all have a fantastic, phenomenal, crazy story. Getting started in the 1920s,
yeah,
so different from getting started today, but appreciating where it started and who it came from and giving them um, that glory as well. I will wear a Kate Spade, not my own design. I'll wear a Kate Spade design to wherever I'm going. And I like to give that to the legendaries and people that I admire and before me. You have
right.
to know where it has started and where it began before you can move forward, in my opinion.
I mean, I share your opinion, so I'm right there with you. So the other day I watched a live that you were on, because
Oh,
about what your, I think, TV network is getting ready to do in New York Fashion Week,
yeah.
your organization. And so you guys are doing some really fun things for New York Fashion Week. But you mentioned something that kind of stuck out to me. You were talking about Runway because you guys are doing a fashion show
Yeah.
that weekend or that week.
Mhm.
And you said something about how runway walk is very different from pageant walk. Now, I say put it out there. I don't know much about the pageant world. I am learning from friends in that world.
Yeah.
But I obviously know the fashion side. So what did you mean by that when you said that?
So there is a different art to both sides, right? So you are on display for the garment that you're wearing, whatever you're wearing at New York Fashion Week. You are the model, right? You are displaying and putting into life what your designer wants you to wear. So that's a different look. So you're not taking away from what you're wearing, you're enhancing what you're wearing, you're being bold and you're being confident. And that has a completely different look than the pageant world. So the pageant world is you are bringing yourself to life and regardless of what you're wearing. You can wear swimwear, you can wear fun fashion, you can wear evening gown, you could wear your interview attire, and it is all about you. It is all about how you feel in your clothing, in your gown, and the confidence that you bring to your audience, and the art and the just how much fun you're having to yourself, with yourself and the audience in front of you. So it is a completely different style of walk. It's some would say it's a more of a bouncy walk. I like to see the model on the runway for pageant wear before I see what she's wearing. And in runway, you want to be known for the garment you're wearing and then the model wearing it. So it's such a completely opposite ends of the spectrum, but I think you can understand, appreciate both different styles because they're completely different. And yeah, the pageant world is just about you and your confidence from the inside out. And the fashion world is you're displaying the garment, the piece, whatever it is that you're wearing, and you're making a bold statement. So I love both of them because they have their own each unique characteristics when you see them walking down the runways. It could be the very exact same runway, but they are so different. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way to explain it, honestly, because what you're saying about the fashion side, like I have literally said that to models almost verbatim, because the typical story, a day before or the day of the fashion show, model shows up with pink hair or something like that, and we're like, what happened, what are we doing? Why today of all days did we decide to do pink hair? And then it's like
Right.
we always get the same answer. Oh, I just thought it'd be cool, and this is more me. And we always have to have that conversation of, this is not about you, actually,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It's not about you. It's about exactly what you said, showcasing the clothes. Like,
You,
that's
yeah,
literally what you were here for.
you are the mannequin
Right.
that can walk.
Right.
and beautifully and bold in your own
Absolutely.
way, because there are models that have their own unique style of walking, and
Right.
that is perfectly fine. But you are casted to walk for this particular designer, for this particular person, and this particular show and runway, and you are the mannequin with legs, with a bold, strong statement to bring their garments to life,
Exactly.
right? And that's exactly what it is. And then the pageant world, it is all about you. And it doesn't matter what you're wearing. They could give you, well, you pick your own wardrobe, but they want to see you beautifully confident from the inside out. And it does show on the runway. And I love watching both of them, those
Yeah.
styles.
Yeah, they are cool. I have a friend, she just competed in her first pageant and
Okay.
just turned 43, so it's like amazing. And she won. Um,
Yay!
yeah, like she won and everything like that. And so yeah, it's like it was even interesting watching her because I've seen her walk the fashion runway. I've seen her just in life, walking with
Yeah.
confidence and everything. And then watching her on the pageant stage, I was like, oh, okay, that's different. But I still see her in it, but I was like, she definitely did it differently. So it's very intriguing to me. Like I'm getting more and more like curious about the pageant world. The more I talk to people in that world and everything, I'm like, this is really interesting to me, like how all of this works. So do you think it's easier just as far as like runway and the way it goes, do you think it's easier to go from pageant to fashion or fashion to pageant, or it doesn't really matter?
Oh gosh, I don't think it really matters. I think when you're in both, they're very artsy. So I think when you're an artsy person, you can understand the different techniques used for both. I think it's fun to do both. I think it's really cool to take a model and say, okay, now you're this, and to see if they can do it, and vice versa. And take a pageant girl and say, okay, now you're a model. You're just a model. And not just a model, but you're displaying a particular garment. And there's a difference. So it's not about you, it's about your garment first. And so they're like, okay, I think I got it. And it's so cute to watch the transition and the differences. But I would say, try out both. One might like one more than the other. And again, it's personal preference.
Right. I was definitely muted.
Oh,
Personal preference, but also one of the things that I love is that there's like so much you can do in both worlds, right? So it's
yeah,
like in the fashion world, you can start out as a model, become a designer, stylist, whatever. And now I'm learning same thing with the pageant world. Like you can be a queen and then like move on to this, or like producing and all of this stuff. So like the thing is that I feel like the cool thing about both, and I get they're really, one, because we're talking fashion and beauty, like
right.
there's so many things that you can do. So even if you start off here, I don't think that transition is too hard if you want to go or do both.
Right,
Like
exactly.
I don't think there's one or the
Yep.
other.
We have a lot of girls who do both. And it
Mhm.
is very, you use a lot of the techniques in that confidence that you gain from both different styles in your life. You always use it in your life. And if you love the industry, you find ways to stay in the industry, as I have, creating, designing, working with other girls, helping them get from one side to the other side and vice versa. But also, becoming what they want to be, whether they want to be, journalists, reporters, public speakers, all of that stems from being able to showcase who you are in front of an audience on stage, right? And
Right.
then you get to put speaking in there, and then you get to do this, and then you get to do, there's so many different aspects of the pageant and modeling world that it's endless opportunities, especially with photography. The girl's like, how do you know you were never a photographer? No, but I have seen photography work for the past 30 plus years. You
Right.
know what they're looking for, and it's the same. It's art. Again, it's art. And the modeling and the pageant world are totally different views of art as well.
Right.
So exploring both sides, going from one to the other, is such a great opportunity for young ladies of all ages, really.
Yeah. And I'm curious, how old were your daughters when they started?
So I was 2 when I started in my first pageant. So that I didn't have a choice. My mom said it was generational and she put me in it. And I won my first pageant at 2 years old. So cute, right? Like
Awesome.
no hair. I have that photo as well. But my daughter was 14.
Okay. Okay. Did
And
you
that
like,
is
oh, go ahead.
that's a tough age to put her in something that's age appropriate. And
Right.
there's a lot of, you know, junior gowns for the little girls, like 8, 9, 10, and there's a lot of gowns for the teenagers.
Hmm.
And most of the time, there's nothing in between.
Right. Right. Yeah. We have a worthy friend who I think she started designing for the same reason because well she's 20 now I think, but when she first started she was about that age I think, and she was kind of finding the same kind of issue where she was like, yeah, my mom was not about to let me wear some of the stuff that was out there for like older, and then the younger stuff was just too young,
Yeah.
just looked like, I was wearing like my little sister's stuff. So she was like, so she started her line for the like, exactly the same reason. So that makes a lot of sense. So was it like with your daughter, was that hard? Probably not because you grew up in it. But sometimes like I talk to people who have kids, and my children are not in the industry. I don't know if they ever will be. They're boys, so right now they're just kind of like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that like a tough, like, did you like conversation about entering the industry, or did she want to, or just like how did that end up happening?
Happening.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So we do a lot of community services and we have a lot of friends in the pageant world. As I have been in the USA system since I was a teenager, I still have the friends from back then. They're still involved in pageantry and I still helped out where I could. But they were watching my posts and saying, "Hey, don't you think it's about time to get so and so involved in the pageant world?" And I said, "You know what? I'll ask her if she has any interest in it." And little did I know she was going to be 5'8", and taller than me. And I'm excited about that. But someone who always wanted to be a runway model is like, oh my gosh, that is fantastic. And in the pageant world, size doesn't matter. And and I love that because back then that wasn't the case. But now it's just all sizes, all shapes, heights, all of the above, and it's so nice. But I did put her in and she said, "Mom, I had so much fun." And so that was that, and she's loved it and she's made friends all over the globe, all over the United States. And I think walking away with that, there's only going to be one queen, where in the modeling world there's a ton of models next to you, on the runway with you, and there's no winner per se. But in the pageant world, you do know that there's going to be only one queen and only one winner, and you love it when it's your best friend, who won. Or, oh my gosh, I'm so glad she won. I really didn't get to talk to her, but she looked amazing and she was so sweet. You love to hear those stories, and you walk away with hundreds of new friendships, and more confidence to do the next thing that you're going to do, because your journey doesn't just end on that stage. It moves on to the next thing and then the next thing and the next thing, and you gain so much more confidence the more that you do. um, and friendships and knowledge, and it's such a great opportunity for these girls. They empower one another, and I love being behind the scenes and seeing that.
That's awesome. And that's something that I've heard continuously is like the friendships, the relationships. And
Yes.
I think that's amazing. Like, I haven't been in pageants, but I think, growing up, diplomat kid and stuff like that. So having the friends all over the world that I can definitely relate to. And like it's super cool. It's really cool to like have a friend here and have a friend there. And like
Yes, and you're
so
cheering each other on.
right, right.
It's really the same pool of girls doing the different systems, and you're really cheering each other on. And they don't realize that they're empowering one another
Right.
until somebody points it out. They're just being organically and naturally sweet in themselves and encouraging. And at the end of the day, it's what you and I are trying to do for these young ladies.
Right.
It's what we hope that is happening today.
Right.
And they're doing it. And that's why I especially love, I wanted to make note that I was a designer for all sizes. It was so sad for me to hear girls coming to me with tears saying, I don't have anything to wear because this designer and that designer won't make it in my size. And that breaks my heart because why would anybody want to stop at a certain size?
Right. Right.
There really is no difference. You're still going through the whole process to design and create something. Why limit it to a certain size of women or
Absolutely.
men?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm so excited that today there's a lot more designers and a lot more girls that can get a lot of things from them, every size, short, tall. Yes, I love that.
Yeah, that is amazing. And I do love that the height for runway does matter, because I was told the same thing. I couldn't be a runway model because I'm not tall enough. So I'm glad that doesn't matter in the pageant world.
I know it is. You know why? Yes, it breaks your heart. But my New York Fashion Week in September is all sizes and all heights.
Awesome.
We are actually catering to the pageant world. A lot of, that goes hand in hand. You can't have fashion without pageantry, and you can't have pageantry without fashion. And a
Absolutely.
lot of these pageant girls are not all 5'9", 5'10", and taller. They're all shapes and sizes. So, and because of COVID, a lot of the boutiques and designers took a big hit. The events got canceled, pageants got postponed, and what were they going to do? There was nothing, no reason to buy anything or purchase anything. So now that things are moving forward, we want to highlight the boutiques and the designers that help highlight the pageant community.
That's that's awesome. That's amazing.
Thank you.
And I was excited like watching your live, because I was like, oh, like I was like, it's exciting anyways, but like I could feel y'all's excitement, you and your business partner, like your excitement. And I was like, this is so exciting for you guys. So I wanna like close out, but so how for I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know, but like, where's the best way to get some information about your organization, your network? I don't know if there's still openings for anything for your New York Fashion Week, but just where can people go to get more info?
Yeah, designers, queens, models, anyone that's interested, VIPpageantry.com has all of our information. You can go to at VIP Pageantry on Instagram as well as Facebook. I have Laylah Rose Couture on Instagram as well as Facebook. So if you have any questions whatsoever, I am very, very happy to help you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Layla.
Thank
As
you for
always, it's a
having me.
pleasure. And we will be definitely talking to you soon.
Absolutely. And I want to see you on the runway because that was
Oh,
a dream of
Lord.
mine too. I had to be a designer to get on the runway.
So, so funny question, not question, but funny thing about the runway. First of all, I appreciate that, especially coming from you. That's a huge compliment. Um, but like, so I think I told you, I started out to be a model. That's how I entered this industry. And like I said, they told me I was too short to be a runway model, which is what I wanted to do at the time. And they're like, but we can, commercial print, all that good stuff. So I did that, walked away from it. So then I think 2 years ago now, this boutique that I work with, they were doing a fashion show. It was two different ones, and I was asked to walk in the show, and Layla, I fought it with everything in me. I was like, absolutely not, won't do it. Like, it's not happening. And like she just kept coming back and coming back. So I mean, honestly, she wore me out, and I was like, fine. I'll do it. Fine.
And
And like it was fun, don't get me wrong, like I had a lot of fun. I was super nervous and I was like, oh, like I have a new respect for runway models because
See?
I'm like, you're just, for me anyways, because I'm not a pro and I never done it for real. So I was like,
Right.
I was like, what are my arms doing? What's my face doing? Like what
I
like
need all the details. Somebody give me all the
right,
details.
like what are we doing? And as I was walking down, I'm like, okay, just smile, just smile, just smile. And like I was so nervous. I didn't want to watch the video. I didn't want like I was like,
Oh
no, no,
my
no, I don't want
God.
to watch myself do it because I'm gonna like critique and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But this is my thing. I was like, I challenged myself. I was like, I have to step out of my comfort zone.
Hmm.
And it's like I'm getting those asks. So I'm like, okay, I told myself I'm not gonna say no.
Right.
I'm going to step out of my comfort zone. So that's just really funny because last week, somebody asked me to do a photo shoot. I'm like, yeah, there's a reason why I went behind the camera. Like, what are we
I
doing?
know.
What are we doing right now? And she's
Right.
like, no, you have to. I'm like, behind the camera is where I'm comfortable. And then I was like, okay, you said you were gonna say yes. So
But see, you know what? I'm the same way with my network. I have a VIP pageantry TV network, and I love behind the scenes, but I have been thrown so much in front of the camera that I'm like, wait, I'm supposed to be behind the
behind the
scenes.
scenes, right,
And
right.
so yes, but you know what? I think the universe and the world needs the role models within you and within me. And you know what? I'm fine to do it. And I love doing it. And I love talking and meeting new people. And I think that's what um I think it was our calling a little bit to just not be behind the camera, but in front of the camera as well.
I think so too. But yes, we will chat, and if you send it my way, I will most likely say yes. I'll I'll just say that.
Hey, I know. I love it. Listen, we're both in the same boat right now. We're behind the camera, but we're in front of the camera right
All
now.
the time, right? Yeah, always. Like we're always in front of the camera now. And even though I keep saying no, I'm a behind the camera girl, it's like, what are you gonna do, right?
Right, exactly.
Like we were saying before we started, we go with it. We go with it. And we
We're moving
also
forward.
we go with it and then we appreciate the opportunities because honestly, there
Exactly.
are
You
people
may
who
never
want,
get that opportunity
right.
again. So,
Exactly.
and yeah. Well,
Exactly.
I'm happy that you had that experience. Good for you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But yes, I appreciate you. Excited for you guys and for everything that you're doing and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you. I look forward to it as well. And I'm so glad we're connected on all of our social medias. And I love everything that you're doing with Worthy Fashion. And
Thank you.
hello to everybody. And I can't wait to chat again soon and learn more of what you guys are doing.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I appreciate it.